Nasi, and today we got a banger for everybody. There's a lot of really good stuff today on this episode, so let's pull up the note page and let's get right into it. Now, the first vehicle that you guys are checking out here on the screen is, in fact, the Brabus Rocket 900. This thing is absolutely nutso. It is the ultimate version, or excuse me, it's what Brabus deems is the ultimate version of the G-Wagon. Starting with the base of a G63, this thing takes it up to another level, bumping that 4-liter twin-turbo V8 to a 4.5-liter twin-turbo V8, giving it bigger turbos, a billet crank, enlarged bore and stroke with new pistons and connecting rods, new valves, high-pressure pumps, ram air intake, new exhaust. This thing makes 888 horsepower, which is 309 more than the G63 for which it is based. And in addition to that, it makes 774 pound-feet of torque, which is actually limited. This thing full out, full tilt, all out can make 922 pound-feet of torque. All of that power motors this 5,600-pound SUV to a 0 to 60 time of 3.7 seconds. In addition to all that power, all that aero, all that, quite frankly, craziness, this Brabus also has aluminum coilover suspension with electronically controlled dampers, which can hopefully keep you level on the road. Now, the price of this vehicle comes in at $572,000. So if you want one of these, you're going to have to pay, especially considering the fact that a G63 AMG itself costs $160,000. So you're looking at an additional $400,000 in cost to get it to this stage. Now, moving on to the next vehicle, we're going to get a little bit slower and a lot quieter. This is the Volkswagen ID4 Pro all-wheel drive, and it promises to be the cheapest all-wheel drive electric vehicle available today on the marketplace. Coming in at $43,675, this car is about $4,000 more than the rear-wheel drive model, for which it shares the same 77 kilowatt-hour battery. Now, adding a motor to the front not only gives this car all-wheel drive, but it gives it 94 additional horsepower, which allows this 295 horsepower electric vehicle to do 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds, which I know is a lot slower when we compare to the 1.98 of the Tesla Model S Plaid. But the fact of the matter is, guys, 5.7 seconds still feels pretty fast. And one of the interesting notes about that 5.7 second 0 to 60 time is it's actually faster than the claimed 0 to 60 time of the ID4 GTX, which, if you'll remember, is the Europe-only special edition model of the ID4. It's really kind of like the hot hatchy version of that car. So it's pretty interesting. This does 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds. The ID4 GTX does it in 6.2. Now, thanks to that dual motor, this thing can also tow an additional 700 pounds for a grand total of 2,700. But the most important question is, what is that range number? Now, if you opt for the base Pro version, you get about 240 miles of range, which is 10 miles less than the Pro rear-wheel drive version that gets 250. But if you opt for the Pro S, which is a little more expensive, you get 249 miles of range, which is also 10 miles less than the Pro S rear-wheel drive, which gets 260. Now, it's important again to remember that all of these cars leverage the same 77 kilowatt-hour battery, and if you qualify for full federal tax incentives, you can get this thing around $36,000, and that doesn't include state incentives. So this is a really good car for the money. There is no doubt about it, and it should be coming to dealer lots soon. Something else that'll be coming to dealer lots soon is this guy. This is the MDX Type S. Now, Acura is sort of, they've already unveiled this car, but they're pretty much showing it off by towing one of their TLX Pikes P cars, which you can see in the next photos here, from its plant in Ohio all the way to Colorado, and they're able to do that thanks to the increased power plant in the MDX. Now, the MDX Type S has the same motor as the TLX Type S, which is to say it has a twin-turbo V6 that makes 355 horsepower, 354 pound-feet of torque. That engine is mated to a 10-speed automatic and driven through super handling all-wheel drive, using things like Brembos and 275 tires. Acura hopes that this MDX is not only good to look at, but fun to drive. And thanks to that double wishbone front suspension, multi-link rear, and all that juice with the SH all-wheel drive, it probably will be. Thanks to that additional power, though, Acura can get 5,000 pounds of towing out of their MDX, which is why they're going to be towing a TLX all the way from Ohio to Pikes Peak. Now, that Pikes Peak race is June 27, and Acura is actually bringing 4 vehicles to the Pikes Peak race. Now, what is on the trailer in the back there is their TLX Type S Pikes Peak car, so that also leverages the same twin-turbo V6, probably makes well over 400 horsepower. I'll get more details on that as we get closer to the Pikes Peak race. Then next to that, you got 2 NSXs, one of which is running in the street class. That's the one on the left there with low aero. And then the one on the right is running in the unlimited class. And then the TLX that is closest to your face looking at the screen is a 4-cylinder TLX that actually ran the race last year. Now, Acura has had a big dedication to the Pikes Peak race overall. They've been running it for the better part of a decade now with a variety of Acura vehicles, whether it's a test bed for modern engineering for Acura, whether it's just a playground for their engineers, we're not entirely sure. But all we know is they got some fun cars coming this year, and it'll be interesting to see how they do compared to the competition. And again, Pikes Peak is June 27, and the practice for that has already started. So if you guys want to get some footage on that, I'm sure you can definitely YouTube Pikes Peak information. Now, the last bit of news that we're going to be talking about today is Rivian did a bit of a further look into the interior on their upcoming R1T. What you guys are looking at specifically is the adventure package for the Rivian interior. This is really the top spec trim, and it has features like that flashlight that's in the door card. Now, the adventure package has 100% recycled headliner, vegan leather, ashwood trim. In addition to that, all Rivian R1Ts will have 4 cup holders, 16-inch infotainment, these neat hooks on the back of the driver's seat that also have a USB-C. They have 18-speaker Meridian sound system on the top spec model. And Meridian is one of the more slept-on companies in the speaker department. They power a lot of the Jaguar Land Rover products, but they make for a really good sound system. In addition to that, you'll actually be able to get removable camp speakers that connect to your phone. So they pair with the same Bluetooth that your phone pairs with the car, and they are weatherproof. They have a built-in lantern, and they charge when they're in the center console, which is where they live, which is where that lady is reaching for right now. And you'll see them in one of the shots, but they're a dedicated speaker system that works with the Rivian pretty well. It's very well integrated. It, in fact, mounts onto one of the storage doors that the Rivian has. You'll see it. I believe it's the next photo coming up here. In addition to all those interior features, the Rivian does, in fact, copy the Tesla, folks. And you can see it right there behind the instrument panels and the center display. There is a blade, if you will. Rivian calls it the air vectoring technology, but it's effectively an air conditioning system that is just like the Tesla products. There is the speaker system. Now you guys have all the information you need to know on this June 18 to be able to carry yourself knowing that you're up to date on the latest and greatest in everything car news. And if you guys like the show today, do not forget to hit that subscribe button on YouTube and that follow button on Facebook. We go live every day during the week at around 8 a.m. Eastern time for a longer form conversation. Following that podcast, we also go live with this 10-minute video clip covering all the latest and greatest news in a condensed format so that you guys have all the news you need to carry on about your day. I am Thanasi, and this is the Money Shift in the Morning show. I'll see you guys on Monday. Goodbye.